local service businesses, Grokipedia is your back door into showing that you are legit on the internet. Elon Musk built Grokipedia to basically kill Wikipedia, and right now is the perfect time for you to set up your Wikipedia. It's easy, it's free, it's fun, and it's gonna give you an edge in outranking other roofing, plumbing, HVAC, landscaping, pest control, other local businesses. In today's episode of The Marketing Mechanic, Dennis Yu, I'm gonna help show you how these different components work and what steps you need to take to be able to be authoritative in Grokipedia. There's 3 components that fit together, and by the end of this episode, you're gonna know exactly what to do. So when you create your page on Grokipedia, you get accepted. That page has authority. It affects your search rankings. I've personally submitted over 100 pages to Grokipedia, got 60 of them accepted, and a lot of them have 30, 40 plus citations to help these roofers, HVAC guys, landscapers be able to rank on roof replacement, Plano, Texas, or landscaping, Bloomington, Illinois, based on content that they already have. So let's dive in. First off, you know that Elon Musk, he bought Twitter, and then he renamed that to X. And what that is a social network. And the social network is such a genius view because it gives Grok, which is their AI engine, this brain, if you will, access to this huge amount of data, of news, of information, of a social network. Basically, you know that the traffic on Twitter X has been growing massively in the last year or two. And it's one thing that's the Achilles heel of Google, because Google has tried, as you know, for the last 15 years to build different versions of social media networks that have all failed. They've tried to acquire other social media networks. I guess in Brazil, maybe like Orkut, you could claim that that was a win, but Google's never had access to that. And so they relied primarily upon blogs, upon Google business profiles, which are great. We're not saying don't do that, but Twitter has far more information, far more real time, far more density, far more. We covered this in episode 1 of The Marketing Mechanic, what an entity is, entity strength, like more detail associated with people, with businesses, and the connections kind of between them, right? The level of density is just so much higher on a social network just because of the amount of information and how accounts are connected together. Like you could never have that on a blog because blogs have links that are between different pages, but that's not the same as tagging other people in photos and that kind of volume of information. So Grok having this has arguably the best real-time view into reality, which Elon Musk has said multiple times. So political views aside and whatnot, I think we can all agree that Grok as an AI engine has an advantage over everyone else because it has an inbuilt social network as the source. Okay, now this is where Grokipedia comes in. So what is Grokipedia? Grokipedia is a social graph. It is so Google has a database called the Knowledge Graph. And in this database of things, there's you as a plumber, there's other entities like Dallas where you serve, there's the services that you have, like, water heater, broken valve, like the different things that you have that map to your Google business profile. There's name of your company, there's the names of your employees, there's the names of neighborhoods, there's products that there's all of these things, and they're all connected together in Google's Knowledge Graph. So what Google has done, what Grok has done is they built a Wikipedia, which is a knowledge graph. So what's happened is that all of these objects that are in Twitter, so it could be you as a person on Twitter, your business as an entity on Twitter. And by the way, make sure that you and your business are handles on Twitter. Any information that's associated with those. So jobs that your crews have done, and pictures and reviews, and where you are having breakfast, right? And you're tagging these locations that you're at, all of this stuff to show evidence that you're doing the thing that you do in Rowlett, Texas, right? In Houston, you're doing HVAC. It's 110 degrees and people are looking at replacements or repairs, right? You've got a ton of this proof already on your Instagram, already on your Facebook, already on your Google Business, already locked on your phone. What you do is you just take those things you already have and you repurpose those to Twitter so that Grok can understand. Now, if that's there and there's a signal for Grok to understand, then when you make a submission on Grokipedia, which we'll talk about in a minute, it is automatically able to, when you suggest an article, it's able to pull from Grok, and it's looking for citations, what they call fact checking. It's not true fact checking, but you can imagine how they're trying to corroborate between different accounts if this is true or not. Are accounts friends with each other? Are they bot accounts? Like Grok could at least kind of tell that. Elon Musk says they're still kind of dumb, but it's actually easy to get in right now because there's only a few thousand contributors. I'm number 4,000. Dylan Haugen is number 348 or something like that. Isn't that crazy? It's still early. There's only 6 million articles on Grok. So it's very early. It's very easy to get in. Literally takes seconds to submit a page if you do it the right way. So when you make a submission for that page, so you might want to do a submission for a page for you as a person, for your business name, for maybe your podcast, because that's an entity. Maybe you wrote a book. You repurposed episodes of your podcast like Dan Liebrandt has done. That's another entity, right? And you connect it to other entrepreneurs. Well, if we write your bio, this page on Grokipedia, and says, think about all the nouns that are in this sentence. Jack Wendt is the CEO, right, that's a noun, of High Rise Influence, and Dennis Yu, another entity, is the CTO of High Rise Influence. They have the AI Apprentice program, right? That's a package. There's clear proof around that. There's a web page that links to that. There's citations. There are handles for each of these. Then when we make these page submissions, then what Grok does is Grokipedia, which is run by Grok, looks back at Grok and says, is there proof that these entities actually exist, or is someone just making up ABC company out of thin air? And of the 40% of these pages that have been rejected that I've submitted, I guess it sounds kind of high, like you wouldn't board a plane and crash 40% of the time, but you can do multiple submissions. So it's not, the analogy isn't exactly the same. It's also coming back here looking to see, like, is there evidence of Jack Wendt? Is there evidence of South Sciorda, of Plumbing Pros? And he's doing business in Easton, Pennsylvania. Is there stuff that's tagged in Easton, Pennsylvania, where he's doing commercial plumbing, where Anthony Hill is doing, tree trimming? And is there proof of you doing these things from your people that are tagging the company, that are tagging the location, that are showing pictures, evidence, proof, right, of what you're doing? We're at Mrs. Smith's house, we're doing the driveway today, whatever it might be. If that proof already exists somewhere else, you literally just need to have it live on Twitter so that when you make a submission here, where the AI makes the submission, or your VA, or your young adult makes the submission here, it's actually not very hard. People have been asking me, well, how do I submit the page? Can I pay you to do that? Like, you could pay our team to do that, but it's actually not that hard to do. I think you should learn. I don't know, maybe I'm just a geek and I enjoy it. But in order for this page to be accepted, then Grok is analyzing these to auto-create the article for you. You don't have to write the article. You just have to submit the page. And then here's the hack I've not seen anyone say yet. So if you want to rank better in Google Maps, I kind of like to use Google Photos. I kind of like to use Gmail. I like to use Google Calendar. I like to use Google Products if I'm trying to rank in Google. And if I want to rank in Grokipedia, then I'm going to do some research on who is Tommy Mello. And by the way, I claimed Tommy Mello's page. I claimed Dan Antonelli's page. I claimed my page. I claimed Dylan Haugen's page, which is hilarious, right? I've claimed so many people's pages just in the last 48 hours. I can log in and show you, right? And the way I was able to claim those pages, and the ones I got rejected were when I went to ChatGPT and tried to generate the information for the page submission. So when I made the page submission, you don't need to understand the technical details, just understand kind of the theory behind what's working and why. The ones that I was able to get accepted were when I went to Grok and I said, I want to submit for Tommy Mello, who's a CEO of A1 Garage, also has the Home Services podcast, runs this conference, Home Service Freedom, owns Tommy Mello Ventures, I listed all the other entities that he's tied to, even though he doesn't have the entities here, which he should. Raja, I know if you're watching this, you're the tech guy for Tommy. We're trying to work with you to get this done. When we have these other citations on Twitter, not just on the web, here, Grok notices that and can pull that to show that there is enough signal strength to warrant getting that page verified, getting that page accepted into Grokipedia. And when that page is accepted, you have that particular entity, you have this whole bio, early times, and all these sentences that tie together entities with citations, and at the bottom, you have a ton of citations. Now, what Grok says is that the minimum to be included in Grokipedia is at least 5 high authority sources. They didn't say 5 citations, they said 5 sources. So if half of your citations are coming from your own website, it's probably not enough. So your own website plus 5 other entities, plus 5 other, YouTube channels or books or other ones. Ideally, if you've gotten pages that are already accepted and you have other pages that are related to those pages that are already accepted, it's like a friend inviting you to the club. It carries some extra weight, right? And they didn't say this, but I think that they're using the existing pages that have been accepted as a filter for what other pages should be let in. And the same way that when Facebook launched 25 years ago, the way to get in was you had to be invited by an existing college student who had a .edu address. That's how I was one of the few people initially into Facebook, because I had a SMU, Southern Methodist University address. I still had my school email address, so I was able to get in early back when it was only available to college students. And because I was early on Facebook, that gave me access to lots of things. And so I believe if you are early into Grokipedia, you can influence, because you're the one who created the initial pages for those people and for those companies. You influence how those pages are shaped. Of course, someone else can come in and do edits, and the Grok team has talked about the controls they have in place for people that try to vandalize or try to remove negative mentions and do, because maybe someone got in trouble for something and they're trying to get that out of their Wikipedia, so they get it out of their Grokipedia too. But one thing I've done, for example, is I've cleaned pages for people that I know that I've written articles about that on high authority sites like mine. I've intentionally then repurposed that to Twitter. I've cleaned their page. There's enough citations about their company and about what they've done, including the people who scam our friends that are home service businesses. I've claimed the pages, and then I asked Grok, generate an article on Lane Hook, generate an article on Joshua Crouch or on Relentless Digital, or whatever, all these other people that are taking a lot of money, whether or not they deliver or not, right? And then I say, as part of this, please write a factual claim, so I can claim the page here and show a full, rounded view of things that are positive and negative about that particular person or about that particular business. Write it in a journalistic way where you're showing a balanced view. And I've gotten Grok to write articles that include some of the things that maybe, competitors don't want to be able to see about that, which are factually true because it's backed by citations that tie back to other sites that have high authority. I'm not saying if you wanted to ruin other people, you could do this, but you could, right? Use it for good. Use it to help you establish your local service business with the services you have in the cities that you operate in those categories and subcategories. And if you do that, and you start to build these pages, and you have other friends that are contractors in Bloomington, in Dallas, Texas, in Houston, you're Donovan Brown of Southern Comfort Heating and Cooling, and you also know Drew Gay, and you also know other guys that you meet at the big HVAC conference, right, in Vegas in 2 weeks. Well, why wouldn't you, because you already have your page and you're already trusted as an HVAC contractor in Houston, what about helping other HVAC contractors? What about having them on your podcast so you can start to link them together and show that there's clear proof here, there's more citations? Some of my friends that I've been able to claim this for, and this has all been in the last few days, they have 50 or 60 citations, which is incredible, right? Think about how much strength that is. That's going to be very hard for someone else to be able to knock out at the index. You understand that when you look at, ChatGPT or Anthropic or Gemini or whatnot, they're pulling from this just like Wikipedia. And the way I know is that I saw in the last few days that these articles are ranking in Google search because they pass juice. Because as the amount of juice and the links come in to Grokipedia, that passes link juice in the way that Google calculates link equity and trust flow and these other SEO sorts of factors. So this is getting stronger and stronger as there are more articles, the more citations and links you have between different pages. It's not enough to get a page in here. That doesn't mean you're going to rank on anything. But the more these pages are connected together, the more HVAC companies are connected together, the more Houston businesses, maybe you're a HVAC guy in Houston and you know a florist and you know a landscaper, you know a real estate agent, you know a general contractor. The more you link between these together, the more you're passing juice and relevance. So any of you guys that do SEO professionally, you know what I'm talking about. This is like a real link. This is powerful. I know Wikipedia is a no follow, so no juice passes. But here, currently, it does work. And we even see there's a couple parts where Grokipedia, when you make submissions, they actually admit, it actually thinks it's Wikipedia, which is weird. So it sort of tells us like we know how Grokipedia was built because the founders of it said just sort of mimic Wikipedia. All the things that work and have worked for Wikipedia work even more so on Grokipedia because the AI is a lot smarter in deciding which pages should be approved. So if you understand how Grok trusts, what it trusts and what it doesn't trust, if you understand what drives trust in Wikipedia, this is your way of understanding how to show that you are legit. No amount of SEO software, no amount of AI generated stuff is going to overcome when you have so much proof. Photos, videos, reviews, stories, podcasts, books, social posts, Google business profile, pictures of your crew, like all this proof in here. Literally, you can use an AI, use your favorite tool, publish it to Twitter, make sure that that structure is there. Make sure you have accounts for each, for your podcast, for your business, for you, for, tag, you're doing this in Houston, tag Houston's Twitter, right? Just show these connections within the big social graph because it's the same structure as Wikipedia. And if you make this investment, it's like buying Bitcoin in 2007. You wish you did because now, it's worth it. It's the same thing here, getting in early. So much cheaper, so much easier to get in now into Grokipedia. And I'm willing to bet because Apple has, because Apple's tried to build their own AI and it didn't work. They spent billions of dollars. They announced last week that Google Gemini is going to power, that Google's AI is going to power Apple. So that leaves ChatGPT in the dark, bleeding billions of dollars. So some people are saying it's going to be the end of ChatGPT because they made a $1.6 trillion capital commitment and they're making only $20 billion a year. You do the math on that. Google printed $100 billion of profit last quarter, right? And Google is now just quietly, and this is a Google-esque kind of strategy because it's based on the knowledge graph. It's not based on an LLM that's just calculating probabilistically the next word. It's not a word calculator. It's actually based on the fundamentals of real entities, what Elon Musk calls the physics engine of reality, right? That's what this is based on. It's always fact-checking. You look at a page, it'll say, last fact-check 7 hours ago, right? Based on 37 citations. So if you're a contractor and you believe in reputation and you get lots of reviews and you document the stuff inside your company cam or Service Titan or your CRM, you are sitting on a gold mine of stuff where you can very easily start ranking multiple pages and other friends of yours that are contractors in Grokipedia. And that's another signal that's going to be a backdoor to rank in Google and ChatGPT and whatever the other LLMs and other tools are. I hope you found this useful. I hope you see that this is a long-term, sustainable, multiplying strategy for how you show that you will win in search and social and AI. If you found this valuable, I hope you like, share, and subscribe. If you want to go deeper into entities and how these structures fit together and how you layer content on this, I invite you to check out episode 1 of The Marketing Mechanic, which is all about entities, how entities fit inside Google's knowledge graph. And that will give you a very clear view into what search engines are looking for and help you immediately spot what is real and what isn't real. We'll see you guys in the next episode.